If you're just tuning in, feel free to sit, watch. Feel free to drop questions in the comments or just hang out. I threw these the other day, I believe, live with you guys. So if you didn't see it, you can go back and catch it. These are kind of thin on the bottom, so I can't press too hard right there. I do have a trimming spinner somewhere. I don't know if it's in my box of tools. No. Gotta find it. I had a really nice big one. Trimming is when you've waited for the clay to get dry enough, leather hard, and you flip it upside down and you remove the extra thickness and shape up the bottom to match the interior. So if you throw it round on the inside, you should trim it round on the outside. If you throw it angled on the inside, you should trim it angled on the outside. This is a diamond core trimming tool I'm using. And then I do like just a metal rib to help smooth out and create this rounded transition right here. Round that out. And then I'm just gonna trim off some, is that a fresh cup of coffee? Oh, well I would need a fresh cup because that's not hot. Sorry guys, if you know me, you might know Saxton. He's so sweet, bring me a cup of coffee that has been sitting there. I left it in the other room and he was sweet to bring it to me, but it's cold leftover coffee. So I think he's actually being so sweet and going up, filling me a new coffee. We'll see. All right, once the outside's done, then we can do the inside. So we'll kind of catch the top. Try not to take off the foot, but we want it level. Come in a little bit, and then we'll just take, again, it's really thin. Usually I'll just take off right inside that foot. And then we'll round that out. And we'll put a sponge on it. This is where you just let the wheels spin and it will smooth itself out. And these bowls are for me, so. Saxon, do you mind bringing me a yellow sponge? A little yellow sponge. It's not hot?
It is.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, look at that. But my coffee. Thank you, Saxon.
You said yellow what?
A yellow sponge. I don't have one.
Big one or little?
Little one. And then I should have a ballpoint pen floating around here. I think I have a ballpoint pen. Thank you. Right here, right here. So I can just, well, let me pick it up first because if it feels thick, we want to put it back on and trim more, but it doesn't, so I'll just sign it like I'm famous. And then we don't touch that. See that texture? We don't touch it. I'm going to put it right side up, make sure it's not, didn't get form there. Put that over there to dry. And we've got our next one. I was trying to make myself a set because when you're a potter and you go to eat something at your house and you go to the cupboard and you pull out the dishes, they should be your dishes, right? And so I have my own dishes, but we don't have enough. So this is to add to, ooh. Add to the collection. And I think we all love a little bowl plate that's like a little wider than deep. Always trim the outside first. We don't love those lines, so we switch to a different trim tool. And we really have to just let it rotate. And this is the Diamond Core Tools Sticky Bat. Oh, I got to take off a little more. The texture of it just adheres the bowl or plate. It's not good for a cylinder. It's not good for something tall, but something low and wide like this, perfect. Because I can trim all the way down without having to use lugs of clay. Metal rib. This one feels like it could have been a little drier. With trimming, it's always hard to get it just right, you know? And then, when you think you're done, put a sponge on it and let the sponge do all the work as the clay spins on the wheel. There's nothing holding this down, so gotta watch your pressure. Then I'll stop it, make sure I've taken off enough of the weight, which this I can take off more, which is not great that I just got it softer with the sponge. I do like my Diamond Core trim tools, but this one's getting a little thin. So I should probably replace the blade on it. But since I picked it up and I feel like it's still kind of thick and heavy, it's best just to put it back on and trim some more off. Because once it dries and once it's fired, for sure, it's permanently heavy. And then you'll have a permanently heavy pot that you always look at like, ugh, it's a little too thick. So when you think you're done trimming, pick it up, feel it, and if you feel like you need to put it back on and trim a little more, do it. Sometimes it's a little extra step, but worth it. And then ultimately try to remove in here so that this foot ring is the highest part of it all. Bring out my sponge, smooth it all. Now sometimes these might need a little rib on them, these little ridges, and then a sponge. Make sure it's smooth. Sign it like you're famous. I do just use a ballpoint pen. And I'm gonna sign it now. It's making kind of a yucky signature. So then I just leave that. And then when it dries, now honestly, it feels still kind of thick. Dry this. And then we can actually use this pen to draw a centering line. And that should help us make sure that our bowl is centered just by looking. And you can even see all this clay that's coming off. Just wait. And you saw me, if you've been here, pick this up twice and then decide both times, put it back on. All right, and then I do like the rounded metal rib to transfer that curve right inside that foot and right outside that foot. And then we'll smooth that, and then we'll put a sponge on this. And then that should be good, but this time I will feel it before I sign it. Oh yeah. That feels better. Sign it. This would be better to sign if it was leather hard, but it's not. Okay, just make sure it's round, make sure it's flat. This other one I did here, make sure it's flat. Another one. And I like to mark on the bottom how it goes out wide. Where does it start transitioning? Right there. And I mark my bottom with an X, and then I center it and I trim outside of that X first. Look at that, doesn't even touch over there. Could draw one more line. And then you can also drop a line and see if it touches evenly all the way around. Okay. Get rid of this clay on the outside. This is also why you trim the outside first too, because this hand's holding it from flying off. So if it gets really thin right here first, if you just start trimming, then it gets thinner and thinner and thinner. And then you just press right through it as you're trying to hold it from flying off. My fingernail mark, still a little. This is also where it's helpful before you even put it down to trim. You kind of feel, how thick is it? How much can you take off? The first one I did was so thin, I could feel how thin it was. This one I felt it had a little more meat to it, so I already know I can kind of take off a lot more. So hopefully I don't have to pick it up twice and put it back on. I can just pick it up once and it's done. All right, before I put a sponge on this, I'm gonna pick it up and feel it. Feels good. So now, like, see that texture? I don't know if you can see it right there. But we'll put that back on the wheel, let it spin, and let the sponge just clean all that up. Pin tool. I'm going to put it right side up, make sure everything's flat, make sure the roundedness is round, and then this one's done. Don't like how that's already kind of concaved. Mark the bottom, mark the bottom. Center it. Check your centering. Slightly right there. And then that X marks the spot. Left hand is going to hold the pot from flying off. Right hand is going to control the trim tool. Both hands hold that trim tool to stay connected. See, this left thumb from the center reaches out for connection. Always start with this thick outer edge and work your way in. Don't go in past that fingernail mark. Everything outside needs to go, and I know that the inside has an interior continuous curve. So I know that the exterior can also have a continuous curve. Right now it's like doop, doop. So I know that I have enough thickness here to take away to make this continuous. Okay. And then from the inside, we'll kind of skim across and then establish that foot. Move from the inside out. I don't know if this is recording mirror image or right way, but this is the center and this is 3 o'clock, like 12, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going from center. My wheel is spinning counterclockwise so that the way I'm holding this trim tool, the clay cuts right up underneath of it. Trim tool, put a rib on it. Almost thinking I can take a little more off. Sponge. And that sound tells me I should empty some of these shavings. Pick it up, feel it, feels good. Gently, because it got a little thin and it started doing this. And then also like this lip doesn't look as round, so I'm gonna try to tell it to stay round. And look, I can't wait to get these home and use them. Cannot wait. Speaking of weight, it does feel a little thick right there, right there. So if I take the time right now and trim it off, I will forever have a lighter bowl versus saying, it's good enough. Then I'll always have a thicker, heavier feeling bowl. So I'm just gonna peel a little bit more off. Maybe even take a little off there. I usually say don't trim the foot off, but it will take a little of the weight. If you're learning to trim, bowls are the easiest. Vases, shaped forms, altered forms, they're trickier. So always just start with bowls. Start trimming with bowls. Figure it all out. Figure out where the foot should go. Matching the interior curve on the exterior. In fact, I'm like still feeling this. Let's take a little more off. And then I'll put the metal rib. We'll put the sponge. Sound out like a famous. Okay, it's kind of messy, but right side up. Make sure that's not concave. Make sure this is round. And then I can put these over here and go get a few more. One second. Two more there. Got three more over here. So that's a total of 6 more I've got to trim. So I'll do these 4 I pulled over. And then we'll stop. You want it to be leather hard. If you can drag your finger and move the clay, it's too wet. Where does the bottom become the curve? Right there. Mark that. Center it. If you're using a sticky bat, it does need to be dry and clean. Okay, X marks the spot. Establish that, get rid of everything outside first. Hands are always connected. Speed is your friend. Starting at that outside corner, working my way in and down, rounding it out to match the interior. Always trim to match the interior form. So as you see, like you've got a little hunk that needs to come off, you can press more because you know that's all got to come off. And again, speed really does help to have a nice clean trim. Sometimes if you go too slow, it gets caught in the trim tool. Joining, just leave a comment. I'll check them. See, let's see. Yep, I'm coming to y'all from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Molly Sanyor. I'm the owner of Molly Sanyor Ceramic Studio here in Adair Park, Atlanta, Georgia, where we do have one-time workshops, like date nights, or just to try it, or have a girls' night, or just bring yourself on a solo adventure. And then we have, just starting in February, we're starting a 4-week wheel throwing essentials class. So you kind of get like the full experience. In the one-time workshop, you don't get to trim because it's all wet in that one time. You have to let it dry. So our 4-week essential wheel throwing class, you get to throw, trim, glaze, all the things. But it's our 8-week class that you really dive in. You make your own body of work. We have an art show, big celebration. It's really fun. And when you trim, you are trying to take off the extra weight. You're also trying to shape up the outside to match the inside. Okay, now we'll pick it up. Make sure it's thin enough. It is, because now I'm going to smooth it with a sponge. And if you pick it up and you realize, oh, I need to take a little bit more clay off, but I've already put the wet sponge on, then it becomes wet and it's not as good to trim when it's wet. You want to keep that nice leather hard. But then once you know that you've trimmed enough, put a sponge on it. Let the wheel spin and smooth everything out. Ballpoint pen is what I like to use. I like to say sign it like you're famous, because famous people are comfortable with their signature. They just sign it like you're famous. And then I'm going to take this bowl, put it back down, put it right side up. Make sure that this hasn't become inverted. Make sure that this is round. Oh, I can't wait to make like pasta or something in here with the sauce. And then, oh, I already love these. And because I wanted a set of them, I made a lot. Because sometimes they don't match right. One might get a crack. It might fly off. I'm eyeballing, does it look centered? Then I'm spinning, does it feel centered? Sometimes your pot might be off center, so you're always centering the part you're going to trim. Mark that fingernail. All this clay on the outside comes off. Then you come across the inside, establish the inside foot, and then I do like to go from center over to 3 o'clock, 12, 1, 2, 3. This is my right from center, center to 3. Catch the center, slowly make your way over, and then stop, and come back to center. You just don't want to go past center, because the way my wheel is spinning, it would catch and make a mess. Speed really is my friend. It makes it a cleaner trim. And you can tap to feel the thickness. If you tap it and it feels hollow versus if you tap it and it feels kind of solid. And it is that solid clay that is the weight that you want to get off. All right, I'm gonna pick it up, feel it. Feels good, a little weight over there. Recenter it. Take a little bit more off here. And that's good. Now I'll put a sponge on it. Pick it up, make sure it feels good, sign it like you're famous, ballpoint pen. And then that's a yucky signature because I just smoothed it with a sponge and it got wet. Oh no! I also just deformed that a bit with the hitting it, but that's okay. It's okay. Put this right side up. Make sure everything is still round. Make sure this is not concaved. Is that round? Yes. Trying to figure out where to put these scraps of clay. I'll do this one next, and I can take some of this. Put it in this bin that's right beside me. Because that's that noise. There's too many scraps. And the wheel is pressing against these scraps. All right. And we're back. Marker bottom. It's kind of like, where does the transition happen? Right there. Then here it starts to come up. Keep that wide. Figure out on this side where that would be if your finger was to match it on the other side. This needs to be clean and dry. Eyeball it to center. Feel it. Feels good. Mark your X. Get rid of everything out here first. Work your way to that X marks the spot part. Round down, and this is where you're like, well, what was the inside doing? It was curving, so this should curve. Slower your hand moves, the less of those trim lines you'll have. Barely skim off this foot. I kind of establish that foot right there. Start in the center. Go over to 3 o'clock. out with this nice sharp metal rib. To just round this transition out. Round this transition out. And then smooth all this. Pick it up. Ooh, that feels nice. Smooth it out. This doesn't have to be as perfectly centered because I'm not putting a sharp object on it to trim. It's just a soft sponge. If there's a slight wobble, it's okay. But you definitely want to take this time. Stop it, get your pen. This is just a ballpoint pen. That's my favorite. I hate a needle tool. And then you sign it like a famous. You just, like famous people could sign with their eyes closed. Like, and then because it's wet, it's a little messy. So we put it on a bat, right side up. I've got a bat right here. This we would like to be a little cleaner. Wring this out. And really I don't want this wet at all, because if it's wet and this sits in the water, it will start to deteriorate. So we put that right side up. Make sure this is not concave the wrong way. Make sure it's still round. And there we go. One more, and then we'll end it there. So let me check our comments if you've been tuning in. Live chat. Yeah, trimming is my favorite, one of my favorite parts. I obviously love throwing. I think a lot of people love to throw. And when I was learning pottery, I did not know or understand how to trim. My brain didn't really grasp the idea of it. So I hated trimming and I avoided trimming because I didn't know how to trim. Now I know how to trim and I love it. Like, look at how satisfying. Look at that. Look at these ribbons. Is that not just the most satisfying? Taking away this thickness, shaping up the outside to match the inside and get rid of some of these shavings. Try not to scoop up my tools because that's how you get tools recycled by accident. All right, back to what we were doing. Marked our bottom, centering it. It is centered. Now we're, see that X marks the spot and go in even more. Trim down. And then because this is a rounded form, it's like a bowl plate, so it goes out really wide, but then it rounds. I want to make sure I'm achieving that here, but also that determines that I have even thickness. If you trim on the outside and it does not match the interior form, then you're gonna be stuck with some uneven thickness. So like sometimes I'll have a beginner student, the inside looks like a cylinder, but then they trim it or throw it round, like curvy and wavy. Really, if you want it to be curvy and wavy, you should throw it so that the inside is curvy and wavy. And then you just trim the bottom, removing any extra weight that might be there. See, like if I didn't trim this, this would be thicker. This is actually pretty thin, and it's the uneven thickness that is really like, hey, I'm gonna probably crack on you. I might give you a little S crack later. If it's really thin and then really thick, it just causes problems. So it's the even thickness you're always going for. And that's why when you're throwing, you kind of need to be aware that however you leave it, the inside should kind of be done. And then the outside is just joining the party. when I use this metal rib tool, I do like to bend it because you know that when metal is bent, it's even sharper. And you can get a metal paper cut just like you would get a paper cut, a metal cut. This feels like it can come off right here. Okay, now we'll pick it up, we'll feel it. Feels good. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's starting to concave up. We do not like that. But that's why when we're done trimming, we're going to put the sponge on it. Let this smooth everything out. Put a sponge here. Be gentle because it's getting thin there. And then because this is getting thin, it's just important right now. Let me sign it. In signing a thin pot, you do have to be kind of careful because you will go right through it. And then clean that down like that, and then just gently, I'm gonna just make sure that everything's in place how I want it. I don't love that. Okay, there we go. So these squares have been trimmed. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching with me. I will lift this up and say goodbye. Well, you still can't see me. One more, a little bit more. I'm Molly Sanuer. I love clay. I love teaching people about loving clay, how to use clay. I made the butt mug that Lizzo made famous. I sell them on my website. I sell my work on my website. MollySanuerCeramics.com, which these bats I'm using are in collaboration and partnership with Speedball. They are the black Molly Sanuer Ceramic Speedball bats. I love them. They have 2 different diameters of holes that fit on different wheel heads. And this is what I make everything on. I don't only throw on it, but I literally use them as trays to move my stuff around. So thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna end off here, sign off, and I will see y'all for the next live. Leave me comments, leave me questions, and go check out my other videos. And can't wait to see y'all for the next one. Bye guys.